Hello, everybody, and welcome. Did you know that stress makes hot flashes much worse, or that stress may shrink your brain? Or did you know that stress affects your sleep and chronic stress over time can affect your lifespan? Did you know that stress increases belly fat and makes it much harder to lose weight? And did you know that stress can affect your libido, or that stress can actually trigger an early menopause? Today, I am talking to every woman over 40 because almost every woman over 40 is dealing with stress of some description, and many have no clue that the level of stress that they're at. And I'm going to explain more about it. So if you're a woman over 40 and you want to improve your experience of menopause, you are definitely in the right place. My name's Vanessa. I am the menopause specialist. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And I talk about all things to do with women over the age of 40. And today I'm going to be diving into the relationship between stress, cortisol, and menopause, and why it's absolutely crucial for women over 40 to understand that. Please do ask questions, drop comments, or share your experiences with your menopause and stress. I will answer every question and comment afterwards. And if you're not already, do support the channel by liking this video and subscribing, and hit that notification bell as well so that you will never miss an episode. This really does help to spread the word on and let more women know about the very important and quite different menopause work that I do. So let's start off by talking about a brief overview of what cortisol is. I won't go into too much detail, but cortisol is a hormone. It's made by your body when any type of stress occurs, and it helps to control your energy. It helps to keep your blood sugar controlled and to make sure that your body can actually respond to stress, like giving you extra energy to deal with day-to-day challenges or something that's slightly out of the ordinary. However, too much cortisol for too long can cause major problems. Cortisol plays a key role in several important functions in your body. It helps to boost your energy by raising blood sugar and giving your body that quick fuel during stressful times and stressful situations, and it keeps you alert and ready to handle challenges. It helps to regulate how your body uses fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and this process affects your weight and how easily your body stores or burns fat, especially during stressful times. Cortisol also reduces inflammation and helps your body to modulate and control your immune system's response to any pathogens or anything that it comes into contact with that it needs to deal with. But, and this is a big but, long-term high cortisol over a long period can actually really weaken your immune system and make you more likely to get sick. And cortisol is, of course, known as the stress hormone because it rises when we feel stressed, helps us stay focused whilst we're stressed. But too much cortisol for a long time can also lead to anxiety, mood swings, and exhaustion. So what is stress? Let's take a look at what stress is, because I think it's really important to understand. It's often misunderstood. Everyone knows about mental and emotional stress because we can feel it. But did you know that the body doesn't differentiate between emotional and mental and physical stress? So anything that stresses the body is perceived as a stress in the same way, and the result is production of cortisol. So that includes things like dietary stress, i.e. what you're eating, your junk food, processed foods, alcohol. But it also includes environmental stress, so things like 4G and Wi-Fi, EMFs. It includes the myriad of chemicals you come into contact with every day, your makeup, your skincare, your cleaning products, your laundry products. It includes stress from things like travel and flying, and stress from exercise and over-exercise. And the thing is, it's all cumulative. So all these things added on top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other, mean that your stress load goes up and up and up. And the amount of cortisol that you produce and the regularity of releasing that cortisol becomes a problem. So what's the importance with stress and cortisol over the age of 40 for women in particular? Well, as we age during perimenopause and menopause, managing cortisol actually becomes more important because our body's hormone levels shift significantly. Estrogen and progesterone are hormones that actually help to regulate cortisol, and they decline during this time, and which makes the body even more sensitive to stress. And this can lead to higher and more prolonged cortisol levels, which intensifies many menopause symptoms like hot flashes, sleep, weight, and moods and mood swings. And since cortisol affects the metabolism, high cortisol during menopause can make it much harder to maintain a healthy weight, especially around your midsection and the belly area. It can also worsen insomnia and anxiety, which many women experience due to hormonal changes. And additionally, prolonged high cortisol can increase the risk of bone loss, i.e., osteoporosis, and chronic conditions like heart disease, which become more concerning as we get older. So managing cortisol is absolutely crucial to managing your overall health and well-being during menopause and for years beyond. Plus, and I see this with probably 90+% of my clients who are fatigued or lost their motivation, when the adrenals are tapped too much for too long, because the adrenals are the glands that actually produce cortisol. When that happens too much for too long, eventually we move towards or into burnout. And this is when the adrenals stop producing enough cortisol, and now the real fatigue and related symptoms set in. Now, I'm going to share something that I think is absolutely critical to why so many women are having such bad menopauses. And I want you to really listen to this because it's important. Not enough people are talking about it. It also goes some way to explaining why so many women are having such bad menopause symptoms or perimenopause symptoms. And did you know that during the latter stages of perimenopause and into postmenopause, we don't stop producing estrogen and progesterone entirely. Our ovaries stop producing it, but we start to produce it in other parts of the body and they take over. Can you guess which is the main area for taking over? Yeah, it's the adrenals. Now think about this. If your adrenals are being tapped for cortisol, which is a survival hormone due to stress, what happens to non-essential hormones like estrogen and progesterone? Well, they're not essential. You don't need them to survive. They get downregulated, i.e., we don't produce as much of them. Now, can you see where I'm going with this? Can you see why this is such a huge problem? Yes, HRT may be able to help to replenish the lack of hormones you may otherwise have made, but it doesn't account for the issues you have with cortisol and what's happening with your adrenals and the rest of your body systems and the impact that that is having on everything. So just adding in HRT isn't the answer. Yes, it can help for some women, not everybody, but there's other things we need to do as well. So let's just recap again on how cortisol affects menopause. So common symptoms of cortisol imbalance are weight gain, especially around that kind of midsection, trouble sleeping or insomnia, and anxiety, mood swings, brain fog, fatigue, and lack of energy. But let's not forget the potential long-term effects of cortisol, like increased risk of heart disease, weakened immune system, so, catching everything that's going, or osteoporosis, to name just a few. So what are the signs of high cortisol in women over 40? There's physical and there's emotional signs. So let's point out the key signs that indicate high cortisol. Persistent belly fat, hair loss is another one, digestive issues is another one, unexplained aches and pains, emotional stress like irritability or anxiety, and of course, fatigue and loss of motivation. Now, let's talk about which minerals and vitamins are crucial for the adrenals, because if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I am very, very hot on minerals and testing minerals and supplementing with targeted minerals and vitamins, because quite frankly, I don't think that you can have a healthy body without that. So the key minerals that everybody should be looking out for in their diet are sodium, magnesium, zinc, selenium, potassium, calcium. And then vitamins wise, it's vitamin C, the B vitamins, there's many B vitamins, vitamin D, and vitamin E. But that doesn't mean, and I really, really want you to hear this, that doesn't mean that you should go out and buy all those supplements now. Not unless you know you definitely need them. And you may not need all of them, and you won't know how much of each you need unless you test properly. Doing so, supplementing blindly, can actually make things worse, cause more imbalances in your body, and decrease your health status. So really important to understand that. Now let's talk about some practical tips you can take to take control of your menopause symptoms or perimenopause symptoms right now. So first of all, of course, stress reduction techniques. I've talked about stress throughout this video, and it's because it's so, so important. Meditation, deep breathing, mindfulness practices. It doesn't matter which ones you do, you just need to choose the ones that work for you. So, it could be daily meditation, first thing in the morning. It could be when you start to feel stressed, you do some breathing exercises. Or if you have practiced mindfulness and you understand how to do that, then perhaps it's that for you. Yoga or gentle physical activity, perhaps Pilates, my preference. Really good for helping with reducing stress and also prioritizing self-care and relaxation. Instead of being on the go all the time, taking time to just sit and be and do nothing, not even read, not even watch the TV, not sit on your phone, but just sit and be with yourself. And if you can't do that, then you've got an issue with cortisol and stress. Secondly, diet and lifestyle changes. So, of course, reducing sugar, caffeine, and processed foods, and of course, alcohol, including more magnesium-rich foods and anti-inflammatory foods, things like leafy green vegetables, nuts, and oily fish. Really good ways to improve your diet. Hydration and balanced meals. Hydration is so important because being dehydrated really can stress the body. So really important to do that. And then sleep management, creating that sleep routine and relaxing bedtime rituals, putting on an eye mask, having a magnesium salts like Epsom salts or magnesium flakes bath before you go to bed. Turning off all your gadgets and your TV way ahead of bedtime, reading for half an hour before you go to sleep, or even better, doing a meditation. And then, as I mentioned, reducing alcohol. Alcohol really massively impacts our health. It's not a good thing to be drinking during our perimenopause, menopause years. Well, it's not good for anybody, let's face it. But during perimenopause and menopause, our ability to detox the chemicals, the poisons in alcohol really deteriorates. So the less you drink, the better. So how do we assess your cortisol? How would you go about doing that? There's several methods for assessing cortisol levels. First of all, a blood test. A sample of blood is taken to measure your cortisol levels, usually done in the morning when cortisol is supposedly at its highest. So kind of like around about 9 a.m. is best. But this only gives you a snapshot of your cortisol at that specific time, and it's limited due to this. Saliva tests are another way. You collect saliva samples at different times throughout the day to track your cortisol levels over a 24-hour period. And this can provide insight into your cortisol levels at that time, but also if you're doing it through the day, you can see the pattern of cortisol as well. Same with urine. Urine, you can do a 24-hour urine collection, which is used to measure your total cortisol, but also you can do dry urine at different times of the day, and that will give you a similar result to the saliva. It will show you the pattern as well as the levels. But my absolute favorite is the tissue mineral testing, and this is because it measures the likely mineral levels in the tissues, which can indirectly indicate your long-term stress and cortisol patterns over several months. If I was going to be given a choice of this or one of the other tests, I would always use this hands down. And I'll tell you why. Because if your minerals are in imbalance, especially the minerals that impact your adrenals and your vitality, namely sodium, magnesium, potassium, but all the other minerals too, then it doesn't matter whether you find out what your cortisol levels are, you can't actually do anything about it. And the brilliant thing about this test is it doesn't just show us the minerals, but the ratios between the minerals indicates the health of your body systems like your adrenals and your thyroid system, your blood sugar as well, the way that your body controls blood sugar. So it is a really, really helpful test. It's definitely by far the best bang for your buck, because you're not just seeing what's going on, but you've also got actionable insight, i.e. you know what you need to do from that if it's interpreted correctly by somebody who is properly trained in it. And let me tell you, there are plenty of people who are not properly trained in it. But if they are, then they can really help you to start to improve that and actually see an improvement in your adrenals and the state of your adrenals and how your body deals with stress. If you are wanting to do those tests, as I said, each one offers different insights. GPs won't test anything really to do with the adrenals unless they suspect a disease like Addisons disease, which is quite a rare disorder where the adrenal glands pretty much stop producing all the hormones. They won't do it other than that. If you're struggling with fatigue, low moods, loss of motivation, or any of the other common symptoms, and you're interested in finding out more about the mineral testing I use with every single one of my clients, with quite honestly outstanding results, you'll need to book a call, and I will put the link into the comments so that you can make a booking. It's a free exploratory call, and we can have a chat about how it works, what it looks like, and how it might help you. So I just want to give you, before we finish, an example of what this testing approach can do. And I'm going to share the story of my client, Lynn, who came to me after seeing her GP many times and then seeing a private endocrinologist, which she paid for, because she felt so goddamn awful and nobody could tell her what was wrong. She had extreme muscle weakness. Her muscles would shake. She had anxiety. She had fatigue. She lost her appetite. And one look at her mineral test and analysis of her health questionnaire, and I had a really good idea of what was going on. And fast forward, and she sent me some pictures in April this year and a message. I'm just going to share my screen to show you the those images, if I can. Where are we? Where are we? Let me just see if I can find it. There we go. Right. So share my screen. Okay, so this first one was the first picture she sent me, which was just before, not long before she came to see me and we started working together. So it would have been March 2023. And this one here was a year later, and you can see she's circled here. And this was her on St. Patrick's weekend doing gigs. She's a musician. And that was a year later, and she shared it. It was exactly a year to the day, and she wanted to show the difference. And what I wanted to share with you is what she said. She said it was a year ago, I properly collapsed and went to A&E, and that's the first picture. The second is the same time this year when I did 3 big gigs on the trot, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for St. Patrick's weekend, made even more complicated by the fact that every sound checkup and setup was right at the time when I should be eating either dinner or lunch. And I survived. As you can see from the picture from Saturday night's gig, exactly 1 year on from the first picture. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you. And it really, I'm sharing that because I want you to see what's possible. This lady had been to the doctor so many times. And I know a lot of you have been to the doctor so many times and been told, you've been tested and you've been told nothing's wrong. Your fatigue is, part of menopause. There's nothing wrong with your thyroid. Your adrenals are fine. Your vitamins are fine. Your minerals are fine. Everything's fine. It must all be in your head. Well, that's kind of intimated because nobody can actually come up with a reason. I can tell you that the likelihood is I can come up with a reason, and not just come up with a reason, but help you to start to feel better again and feel like yourself again, because ultimately that's all you want to feel is like yourself. Nobody's expecting to feel like they did in their teens or 20s, but we just want to feel as though we're living life and, like we did in our 30s or in our early 40s. Life isn't over because we hit perimenopause and menopause, and we shouldn't feel like it is. We shouldn't feel like we can't do the things we used to do, because we can with the right approach. So what I want you to do from this is to start implementing some small changes to manage your cortisol levels, manage your stress. I gave you some techniques, I gave you some tips. Go back and listen to it again, take some notes and start to implement it. Work on your sleep, work on your stress, work on your relaxation techniques, work on your diet, remove alcohol, drink more water, and see what changes you get. But if you've done all that, or you do all that and it's not enough, the next step is really to do some mineral testing. And for that, you just need to contact me. If you want to learn more about it and how I can help you, I have got another video where I talk through another client's test results and case study and show you what the test looks like, what the test results look like, and how I interpret them. And you can watch that right now by clicking the image that has appeared on the screen. Okay, thanks everyone for joining. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to make sure you don't miss future videos that I do. I try to do them every single week.